Hello and welcome to the SC Playbook podcast out of NRL Supercoach Round 17, proudly brought to you by Mortgage Choice SCW. I'm your host, Nicole Casanova. Here with me today is the high-flying Supercoach Spy. How are you, Spy?
Bloody good, Nicole. Yeah, going well, mate. I was telling you beforehand, I've had a freshen up 2 weeks. Not drinking too much. Had a few here and there, but not too much. Off the sugar to a degree. It's a Tom cleanse anyway. So
Supercoach side's the big winner out of the cleanse.
And sometimes you just need to do that to get your boys in order and give them the ramp up they need. But yeah, into 7:30 or something like that. But feeling all right. And
you had a bloody nose up there, mate. You're a long way up.
Yeah, used to it, you know. It's meant for some, not for others.
Can he sustain it though?
Yeah, well, we'll find out.
Yeah. Also with us today, for the first time in a while, 2021's 6th placed overall finisher, Clementine Cassidy. Clem, welcome back.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be back.
How are you? How's life? How's the many Kiwi kits that you own?
It's good. It's super busy at the moment, but yeah, good to be back on here. Coming off a bit of a good score as well. It's a perfect round to come back on. I got a 14-11. Last round, so
good going.
Good going after a few bad weeks. Clawing my way up. I think I'm in 14,000th place now. So finally out of that 15,000 to 20,000 limbo, and yeah, onwards and upwards, catching up to Spy. So
making some moves and running down the Spy.
A couple of good captain's calls, and
keep
got
coming.
him.
Keep coming.
Actually, you two are neck and neck just about every year in Supercoach, but a bit of a gap this year, Spy.
Yeah, I think I gapped her last year as well. Put the hard word down. She hasn't responded well. But let's see, as we said on the phone this morning, and a bit of pre-show hype, if you nail a couple of 500-point skippers, maybe you'll get close to me.
Making a late run for it.
Shade from the Spy. Also with us today, as always, Matty the Waterboy. Matty's a bit rattled at the moment.
Yeah, it's been... I'm all at sea, basically. Like, no matter what I try, the harder I try, the worse I'm going, to be honest. I had a little bit of a win this week. I originally captained Pappenhausen, threw the vice-captain on Herbie, took his 100, which turned out to be good. Still got 12.33, which, I think is a modest score, and managed to fall another 2,600 spots. I'm actually the lowest rank I've been all year after a really good start. And there's not much wrong with my team. It's just... I'm just missing out on little things here and there, but yeah, just need to get through this bye period. My team's actually shaping up all right for the next bye, so I think I'm all right.
I know the feeling, Matty. Had it last year, and you just like, my team looks fine, not making any drastically bad moves, but you just feel like you're treading water, going, how the hell do I keep going down?
Exactly, so, and no like bad scores either. Yeah. It's just. Yeah, I'm just fighting with the realities of Supercoach. I've never made it this far, playing properly. So, yeah.
Good to hear,
Did you start pre-season too early, do you think? Have you just hit the wall?
I think so. Because I got up to my highest rank this year, I think I was in the 4,000s or 5,000s. And I stayed there for quite some time.
Not that long ago either.
No. And I only dropped out of the 10K, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago. But, just a bit of a free fall. But we'll... Look, 2 weeks is a long time in Supercoach, so we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
Can change very quickly. For myself, 1,281 points last week. I dropped 700 spots, a bit disappointed, to 2,700th overall. So still hanging in okay, but just consistency. The boys said no majorly poor weeks, but just a few of those weeks have drops of sort of 500, 600, 700 spots. Not a bad week last week. I wasn't going to trade, and then I saw a lot of good trade options coming up this week. So I went early, went Olakau'atu, who was injured, obviously, to Viliami Kikau, and glad I did because there's a lot of players emerging this week in that hooking conundrum as well. In terms of Nicole Casanova, the little intro there for context, my Twitter account was hacked last week. So, and then later on this week, it became Nicole Casanova. So I became a female Bitcoin entrepreneur. So to anyone who took my advice on that, reverse it as quickly as you can because, that was Nicole's advice. Anyway, we're back up on Twitter and have regained control, so life is good.
Before we get into it, a lot of people have been asking about OzTag last week. There was obviously a big clash, and I've laid off from telling what happened. Unfortunately, we got dusted up, but it was a pretty tight clash. So for those wondering, our average age in our side is over 40. At least half of us are over 40. I'm like mid-30s. We do have two 27-year-olds who are quick. Shout out to Lucas, subscriber, who scored a late one off a yours truly cutout ball to cut the margin to 1. We were down by 5 and we scored 3 or 4 quick tries. We just threw caution to the wind and it was electric. And then they scored. They were super quick, right? Super, super quick, and we just couldn't get a handle on them tag-wise. And they scored a length of the field, tried to put it away, but very gutsy from the troops. And it turned out the other game, someone forfeited or something happened, so it was actually the grand final. So we went within a whisker, but the old boys couldn't quite get it done in the end, but they did well.
I didn't know part 2 to that story. If you got home, it would have been a default grand final.
I know, which would have hated that. You want to win your grand finals, but I mean it's better than losing. I probably would have. I don't know. What would you do in that situation? It'd be annoying. I'd be like, I'm here to play a grand final, but anyway, wasn't to be. But that's the update for the troops. It was a good performance, but just the lack of speed got us in the end.
Bit like your Supercoach season spy, peaking early, inevitably will probably fall short.
Yeah, if I come 3 short of winning it and come 4th, I'll take it.
On today's show, guys, Team List Tuesday, Supercoach pointers. Big changes in Manly's backline, including Tommy Turbo to centre. Huge Supercoach ramifications coming out of that one. Main topic for today's show, we are going to be looking at the hooking position, having a deep dive. What is the long-term plan there? Riley Smith, Sandon Smith, both unavailable this week. Lots without a number 9. How do we solve the headaches to come, and what is the plan moving forward? We're all in a different position with that spot this week, so it'll be good to have a bit of a chat about that one and what the targets are. Hot topics for the week. There's a cash bonanza incoming for Josiah Karapani. Is he too hard to pass up this week? The Spy, I think he thinks so. We'll get to that later. Our round 17 trade and skipper plans. Then to the listening questions, is 5 Storm players too many moving forward? Guys, before we get into it, we are very, very close, about a week and a half away from the SC Playbook community meetup. The SC Playbook day at the footy. The pundits are typical, eclipse the hype of Magic Round. You do not want to miss out on this one. The community and members of the SC Playbook contributor team, we're heading to the Roosters and Tigers clash at Allianz Stadium at Moore Park on Sunday, July 6, a doubleheader with the NRLW clash. Allianz Stadium have given us exclusive space at the American Express Garden, the stadium's premier beer garden. 50% off tickets for SC Playbook subscribers. The link to that is in our WhatsApp community. If you're a subscriber but not in that community, flick us an email at supercoachplaybook@gmail.com. That is full word Supercoach, and I'll send you the link there. Regular listeners, they get 10% off tickets. The link to that is on our social channels if you scroll back to the weekend. Also in our YouTube description of the show. They're selling fast. The response has been unreal. So come along, fill that beer garden, spend the arvo chatting Supercoach. We're also going to have Supercoach contests, prize giveaways. Should be a cracking afternoon and want to get as many people there as we can. The Unlimited League leader, Momax, coached by Jack, retains his place in first overall out of the entirety of Supercoach. We've got the current top 3 overall. Hunched back, coached by Aiden. He topped the week with 1,540 points. So congratulations to Aiden. Team List Tuesday. Essentially all the Origin stars have been named to return, except for a key one, which we'll get to shortly. Penrith have named all their players, including Nathan Cleary, who was under a little bit of an injury cloud going in. At the Doggies, Lockie Galvin remains benched there. At the Manly Warringah Seagulls, though, Lehigh Hopper-Wate at fullback. Tommy Turbo has been moved to centre. Ruben Garrick to the wing. Jason Saab has been dropped. Spy, bit to unpack in this one.
A bit to unpack, not wrong. Garrick to the wing, obviously massive for his credentials. Will make less tackles. And he's going to score more tries. Simple as that. On that right edge outside Tommy Trbojevic. Lehigh's a good passer of the footy, so if Manly can get any sort of attack, we could be back to a bit of peak Garrick. But we do need Manly to still play some good footy. We'll go from there. And Lehigh at fullback, obviously, very, very tempting.
I think it's going to turn that right wing spot just into a gold mine. Like with Tommy Turbo there, the amount of defenders he'll attract, he might not be moving as well as he has, but he's still got the hands, he's still got the ability, he's still got the strong running game. I just think they're just going to flock to him. DC will love to shape for that short ball to, whether it's it won't be Olaquatu, who's injured, to the back rower, to Tommy Turbo, and just the bang out to Garrick. Like, especially vice captaincy conversations, that's a big one that changes. And if I was a non-owner, I'd probably want to be changing that. Not necessarily this week, but pretty bloody soon. Anyway, at the Tigers, Jareem Buller has been injured. The 12th most traded in player this week, Latu Fainu. 289k, a 42 point per game average, a negative 11 break even. Spy, he's got a game that is very sort of conducive to Supercoach scoring. It certainly looks that way in limited time so far. Very cheap because he's played his minutes basically off the bench in limited time so far this season. part of why I went early on Kikau last week and thinking there'd be good trades to come this week was I was eyeing off a little Dill Brown to Latu Fainu move. Because of injuries to Fletcher Sharp and the hooking issue, I don't think I'll be able to do it. Latu Fainu, I think he's a really good pickup at 5'8".
He's a gun. The kid is an absolute gun. My only flag around him would be he can find an injury early in his career. So I guess the thing is, though, if he's your backup 5'8", it doesn't really matter. He should getting through this weekend okay. He'll play next week. Got him for the bye period, so he's a bloody good player.
And the way I said, like, he bust tackles, he can offload, he's a running half, covers the next major bye round, and he has 2 decent games incoming as well. And I just think, he could just sit there as your backup 5'8" all season to Jaden Campbell or Cam Munster or whoever you've got, or he could just. I think probably the most logical one is that he's your ticket back to Cam Munster post-Origin, having made 250K. Like, I think it's a great play.
Yep. No, I like it. I guess the other consideration there is, do you need 2 good 5'8" for the run home? You'll find getting late in the season that your bench is going to be stacked. So do you then need to make those extra trades to get 2 5'8"? I'm not so convinced you do, but you're right. If you end up wanting those 2 5'8", he's going to make things easier.
Yeah, and that's the point. Like, you can get Fino in now, bank the cash from whoever you're trading out at 5'8", and you decide later, do you just hold Latu and play him with your 5'8" and just have him there sitting as backup. So I think it's a reasonable play for anyone out there. Fletcher Sharp, pretty awful looking injury, or the result, I should say. I think NRL Physio likened it to a car crash injury. So thoughts and concerns out there for Fletcher Sharp, who's in a bit of a nasty way and is expected to be out long term. Jackson Hastings comes into the halves. There, Clem, at the Raiders, Hudson Young is out this week. He had a minor injury concern last week, played 55-odd minutes backing up from Origin. Simi Sasangi, he starts in the back row. Hudson's out. Hurts, as a lot of people brought him in last week, including our very own Maxi Bryden, who is hurting.
Yeah, that does suck for people that brought him in.
Did you?
I didn't bring him in.
You just laughed because you had Maxi did.
Yeah. Oh, so I thought you did there for a minute. I'm like, sorry, what have I done to you?
I also laughed that Maxi did, but
Yeah. I have no sympathy for Maxi. He's going well. He's sitting like, I don't know, somewhere from about 800 to 1,000, and he's chirpy. Jeez, he gets chirpy.
Yeah.
He thinks he's got the greatest team on living earth every time I ask him. So can't wait to run him down later on in the season. At the Warriors, Jacob Laban retains the back row spot with Kurt Capewell there. Clem, your Warriors. Leka Halasima moves to the bench. Dallin Lesniak is out. Seriously, the amount of game-breaking back rowers that you have the choice between, and you just say, we'll play Halasima this week, Laban the next week, Valmunga the other week. Not a bad position to be in.
How good a week. Laban was definitely, I reckon, one of the best on field for the Warriors last round. But yeah, I think my big one with the Warriors is more that Metcalf's not injured. And that just made me so happy when I saw that. But yeah, I think a bounce back game for us this week.
Do you see, obviously a really good draw? Are you happy as a Warriors fan, or are you a Supercoach owner of Luke Metcalf as well?
No, I'm happy as both. And I think I like owning him in Supercoach because he's fun to watch for the Warriors. And it's so good to see him just really living up to his potential. He's going so well. And I think, I've owned him all year. He's never going to leave my team. He's my new favourite player.
I got a bit out of him and earned some good cash and a couple of decent scores, along with some absolute plotters of scores. But he's one that in hindsight you just sit there and go, with 5'8" not being great this year, if you had him from the word go and held him, you just laugh, and you've saved trades, just had some big scores. So, and the Warriors really soft draw post that Origin period as well. So a good one to own for the run home. At the Dragons, Nathan Lawson and Tyrell Sloan dropped. Corey Allen and Christian Tuipulotu on the wings. Nathan Lawson, a popular cheapie a couple of weeks ago. Spy with Lawson. Obviously people buying for that third major buy round next week that the Dragons cover. Would you try and hold him for one more week and hope that he runs out and gets you some points, or do you just cut ties now and move him to, say, a Karapani?
If it was Karapani, I'd go immediately without hesitation. If he's sitting there in another realm, though, and you don't need to move him on, then, hold him for sure. See what happens. He might end up just a free number next week, but there's certainly no need to hold otherwise.
If he is your ticket to like a Karapani, I'm with you, so I think you just pull the trigger regardless of next week. Also, the Dragons, not a lot of owners out there, but Loco Pacifica Tonga, he has been moved to 18th man as well. At the Eels, Riley Smith, he's suspended, as is Will Pensini. Joey Lussick again starts at number 9. He actually did come off the bench last week, Riley Smith, then left the field early, I think, with a little bit of an injury niggle. So even if named, it wasn't all necessarily going to be bright anyway. There's still going to be a few headaches for owners there. Jack Bostock, devastating for the young fella, did his ACL last week. I know, Clem, you brought him in last week along with Plenty, so thoughts with him ahead of that injury rehab, and hopefully he comes back bigger and stronger. At the Rabbitohs, Campbell Graham and Cody Walker return for the Bunnies. At the Storm, Jack Howarth is out. Xavier Coates returns on the wing. Clementine Malawi starts at lock for the Titans. Now, doesn't come as a huge shock as such, but I believe he's battling or carrying a sternum injury, it might be. I know a few people looked and actually did sell last week. Did you hold? What are you doing?
I'm holding because I'm doing other trades this week, but I can totally see why people would be moving him on. I reckon, you could move him on. He's like, he got 37 minutes on the weekend. He doesn't look quite right. Does he back up after Origin again? And it's just kind of, you could move him, use Jules and get like a really high upside player like a Carraz or someone, that's going to score you more points than what Tino's likely to get you over the next 3 weeks or so.
What do you think inspired Tino?
So I've got Tino, but with the injuries that have come in, there's no need for me to sell him. I'll be deciding out of him, Hosking and Nicker this weekend as my last reserve. That would have been unfathomable a month ago. Of course, you play Tino. I think the way I see it is, and after having a little chat to physio today, you don't need to necessarily play him in the next month if you can cover him. But I've got him sitting there ready to go, hopefully for those last 4 or 5 weeks, and hopefully gets back to his best with the sternum. Happy enough to hold, but yeah, as Clementine said, if he's your ticket to Carraz or one of those boys, happy enough to sell. But I don't mind the sneaky hold, and hopefully others sell. And in the meantime, he comes good.
I'm holding tight. Like, it's Tino. Even if he's carrying a little something there, he means so much to this team. Like, Desi Hasler is essentially coaching for his job. He needs Tino playing big minutes. Tino will absolutely want to play big minutes. So unless the injury hams him enough that he has to keep playing less, I just think he will. As you said, as an owner, we don't necessarily have to play him each week. Keon Kalamatangi, he'll get dual front row 2RF next week. So just to have that link between them two there, that's going to be invaluable on the run home. So I'm with you, Spy. Don't necessarily have to play him every week, but he's already dropped a bit of cash from his peak price, so I'll be holding tight. And at the Cowboys, Jake Clifford, he is back in the halves. Jackson Purdue moves to centre. I think good news for Scott Drinkwater as well. We'll touch on that one a little bit later. Let's get into our topic for the show, though, and it is a hooking deep dive. As I mentioned, we're all in different situations here, so I think we'll cover just about all bases. Sandon Smith is the 5th most sold player this week at 502k with a 75 break-even. The Roosters on the draw. He's been cleared of any injury concerns from having left the field early last week. Riley Smith, he's the 6th most sold, suspended for 2 weeks. 39-point average, 66 break-even. I have those two. I do not have a number 9. I'm not thrilled about it. Clem, what's your scenario?
I have Sandon and I also have Corey Paik, so I've actually had all year.
I'd nearly prefer have none.
I almost would rather be copping an AE. I'm pretty sure my AE would be Tino. But yeah, I mean, Paik scored his try last week, so maybe he goes again this week. He is starting again this week. He's played 50 the last 3 weeks, but honestly, I might cop a 30 as well. So honestly, I might as well just have the AE.
Yeah, so...
Might cop a 12 as well.
Might cop a 12, yeah. He's done a 12 before. Actually, I was going to play him that week, and you were like, no, don't play him.
Like, what are you doing? You're like, I just love him. Like,
just give me a leg up. Give me a leg up.
So, are you thinking... and we'll get into replacement options in a second, but... Are you looking to make a move at hooker this week, Clem, or are you thinking of just copping it and running?
No. I'm just going to cop it and just run. I'm going to trade him to Riley. No, I'm just gonna cop it and run with it.
Cop it and sit.
Yeah,
Is that what you're doing?
And then because I want to get in a Connor Watson or a Harry Grant after Origin. Yeah. So for me, you've got Sandon on the bye, but then he's coming back next week, and he is he's so playable. Of course, we all know that. So. For me, even if I had Riley and Sandon, I would still probably cop the AE and not trade in Harry or Connor yet, because 17 to 20, it's a long time and anything can happen at Origin. You know, one of them can get injured, the one you brought in can get injured. So I think you kind of like, if you're going to get a good AE, you may as well just go with it.
Spy, you don't have too many headaches this week, certainly not compared to the rest.
Starling comes in for me. Well, he started last week anyway, actually, with Sandon on the bye. Obviously stoked about that. Starling still played upwards of 60 and a bit minutes last weekend. Came on, I think, for the last 3 minutes at lock as well. If he can make it more sticky, that'd be great. But, yeah, Starling's going well. He's just punching above his weight at the moment. He just keeps getting it done. So, fingers crossed he can score for me this weekend, because after that I should be pretty set for the run home. We'll have a look at a new hooker post-Origin. But Starling's doing a job. And, yeah, Sandon Smith next week, he's going to be awesome. That Sunday, Arvo will be there against the Tigers. Goal kicking, he's a good runner of the footy. We've already seen him score 140 odd this year, so maybe he'll do that again. In terms of hookers moving forward, do you want that now?
I'll go through my scenario. Yep. So with no hookers this week, I don't love it. It has fallen on a week where, you know, with players such as Fletcher Sharp injured, Jaden Campbell injured, I've got, you know, a fair few, like most of us, Roosters players as well. My team is pretty strong in the sense that I don't have a lot of dead weight on the bench. I've only got a few players there, especially pending the trades that I make. So I would have to make a move if I did at number 9 by the Eels and Dragons game, which is the 5th game of the round at 5:30 on Saturday. So I'm kind of just going to see how my players and how things play out to that point and go, all right, if there's no like real dud, sub 20, 25 sort of scores, maybe roll the dice a little bit and just cop the AE, have Sandon next week and move from there. But Spy, there's every chance that the way Supercoach goes, there will be one of those players. And I go, all right, I already don't have really a flex. I've got the 17 that I've got because I don't have a hooker. So I am tempted to make a move there. Now, I don't want to be making multiple trades at hooker because I don't think the position is worth it. But for the run home, I do want Harry Grant or Connor Watson. Connor Watson on the bye this week. I want Harry Grant for the run home. I'm tempted to make the move there from Riley Smith to Harry Grant. My concern with Harry Grant and my concern with and I've blown up about on the Bloke podcast already, so I won't go too long about it, but I just cannot believe how many people backed up from Origin last week and on the 2-3 day backups.
Crazy, eh?
It just blew my mind. I mean, and NRL Physio, I reached out to him and said, like, mate, am I losing my marbles because I'm obviously not a physio, I don't have medical experience. This seems ridiculous to me that a lot of players are doing it. Namely Harry Grant, who had a hamstring injury already this season. He played 80 in Origin, backed up, played 84 for the Storm. So I want him, but then Physio said no. He said it is bonkers, and he said he's expecting a lot of soft tissue injuries in coming weeks or next month because of it. Harry, who's hurt his hammy already this year, that scares the shit out of me.
Yep.
Hudson Young, backed up for the Raiders last week. Look, it might not be related, but I think it's osteitis pubis or something, and he's now out this week, backing up 2 days from Perth. Like, it just seemed bonkers to me. Anyway, Spy, that scares me with Harry Grant, who I think is the number one target for the run home. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think on paper it makes sense to get Harry now, but this weekend, then he plays Origin, then he might back up again. You're like, does he get through that period? Like, as a footy fan, I hope so, because I love watching him. I do think Harry's turned a corner in recent weeks. He just looks a bit like himself again, but that's not going to help you if his hammy's no good. So
he could also not back up after Origin 3, and then
a couple of weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row, and you're all right, well, that doesn't really help.
Yeah, so it's not ideal, but I mean, if you're staring down the barrel of a 6 score or something, that's when you'd go, all right, maybe I roll this dice. But
and so I think he's the man in the position. He's at a really good price. Like, we can get him currently at 586k. He's on a 61-point average this season. He's got past averages in the last 4 years of 71, 73, 78, and 74. I just think the Storm are going to fire on the run home. They've got no buys to come. I think he's the man, but the short term does concern me. What do you think in the position, Clem? What's your longer term plans?
I'm going to wait until after Origin just to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm tossing up between Connor and Harry. Connor's obviously the highest averaging hooker at the moment, and he's got that really handy duel, which is so good as well. Harry scored 3 tons in his last 6 games last year, backing up from Origin. So I don't know, that makes me think like, oh, like maybe I jump on him. But like I said, like I am going to wait until after Origin. And I think, you know, if you've got the cover this week, you can wait until after Origin.
Yeah, if you're sitting in the Spies position, you've got a Starling or someone serviceable that can get you 40 or 50, whatever it might be. Corey Pace, he's not serviceable. No, but you're 100%, you sit on your hands. Spy longer term, what do you think in their position?
I'm going to go Harry. Watson's a really, really good option, I think. He's probably, or he's not probably, he's definitely busier. He makes more tackles and has that set running role, but Harry's just got the explosiveness. And as I said before, I think he's building into confidence this year. He was probably a little bit down on form earlier in the season, but the way he's going at the moment, we could see some really good stuff from him. So all I need to see him is get through round Origin, then round 19 healthy, and he's coming in, mate. I think I'm excited to own him. Melbourne have no more buys incoming. I'm happy to stack them. They could rest everyone late, but this year they're not going as well. So that's pretty handy, but I guess if you're owning Pappenhausen, Munster, Eli Katoa, Harry Grant, not sure if there's any others off the top of my head, but maybe that hurts you if they were to rest everyone late, and that's always the concern heading late into the season. If you've got guys from star sides, or even a side that can't move in the rounds, in the ladder, in the final weeks, you could get really stuck, but he's good enough that I just want to own him, but I can understand if you'd want to go Connor. It looks like the Roosters will be fighting for that 8 spot, and there'll be certainly no opportunity to rest him, so that would be the toss of the coin in that scenario.
And there was a question later, Spy, from Justin Warner. Is 5 Storm players too many? Looking at Grant, Katoa, Munster, Hughes and Pappy. 5 players that at least 4 out of 5 of those are season keepers, give or take Jerome Hughes and how he plays and what you want to do with the halfback position. There is that risk because a long season for the Storm, they now play, they don't have another bye to come.
Yep.
So they're playing all the way through to round 27. There's every chance they're playing for a top 2 or a top 4, whatever it is. But there's also a chance, they're locked into 3rd or 4th or 1st or 2nd or whatever it might be.
They're a game off the Raiders. They could easily be 2 games clear of Canberra come those final weeks, and maybe sitting with the Bulldogs in top 2 and go, that's all we need, we're at home.
So I think in that scenario and his question, the Storm players, they can all score well together and probably will, and we'll put some scores on the run home. So I think it's fine. I would just want to try and save a trade or 2 for those last few rounds. If that does happen, you can offload a couple of them.
Yeah. Or depending who your backup is as well.
Yeah.
If I have the ability to keep Starling and sell Sand and Smith, then I'm cheering, but plenty of people won't have that option. So it's important to keep that in mind, I think.
Is there anyone else in the hooking position, or is it like maybe people are looking for a shorter term play? Is there anything we can do?
I'll tell you what, Blake Brayley, struggled to say that, is absolutely killing it. I read something during the week, don't know if this was just street talk or whatever, but the coach had said something about running more in the last 2 weeks. Try scoring machine. He got denied one the week before, which was some ridiculous decision where it was like, the play ball wasn't straight. I won't carry on about that. Yeah. But he's coming off basically back-to-back tons. Blake looks pretty damn good. Doesn't play round 18, but we spoke about it last week. I can't remember who the player was, but you're basically on a very small sample of him running and scoring tries in recent weeks. That doesn't mean it's going to continue.
We've seen it before.
Yeah, but
not to this extent though.
But he looks good. He looks really good. So
he's always had the running game. It's just like.
But in saying that, I'm not going to get him. But yeah, if you want to look differently, or you want to maybe get him this weekend, who do the Sharkies play?
Storm. Yeah,
it's not ideal. I don't mind Storm on the edges, but not necessarily through the middle.
Such. Anyone else you'd consider there, Clem? Like there's someone like Jeremy Marshall-King's 3 games back from injury, 437k price tag, averaging 49, but not scoring that well. I mean, there's Appy Coruscant who was scoring well, but he hit the skids with 30 odd last week, albeit it was against the Raiders. Anyone else there, or is it a case of waiting and Watson v Grant?
Not for me. I just think there's a finite amount of trades and we've still got 10 weeks left. So if you're trading in someone else and then going to trade them out for a Harry and a Connor after Origin, then you're using 2 trades at hooker. And I just think it's not a massively scoring position and you're better off using them somewhere else, in a higher scoring position.
I think the only other one that I would consider is if there was an injury to Damien Cook or Jacob Little. I think an 80-minute hooker at the Dragons could be...
Jacob Little would be my first pick if Cookie went down.
Yeah.
Could score 12 tries.
Anyway,
again.
interesting space.
As the great guru would say, don't outthink the room, Connor or Harry. I'll take that off him.
Oh, you'll love that, the big fella. Guys, we are super excited to announce we've partnered with BetBuzz for the remainder of the 2025 NRL season. They're great friends of the podcast. They're Aussie-owned and they are the sweetest bookmakers in the country. Moving forward, each week we'll be bringing you the SC Playbook best bet of the round. Good timing. I've just entered into the green on the Halfback podcast, so you can follow my plays as we charge towards the NRL finals. And to sweeten things up, we'll be looking to tailor some unique markets to appeal to fantasy sport players. So keep an eye out for that, which will be something a touch different to what you've seen before. To check them out, head to the link in the show description or across our social channels later on in the week. A big thank you to BetBuzz for getting on board and supporting the SC Playbook podcast this season. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
I hope BetBuzz know the kind of form I've been in this year so far. Coming for you.
Dangerous. Very dangerous. Hot topics for NRL Supercoach round 17. Clem, the most traded in player this week is Josiah Karapani at $290K. Available at CT Dub. He's averaging 93 across his 2 games. He's got the biggest score in his rolling average and his break-even for a few more weeks. The break-even is negative 85. He plays round 18 for the Broncos. He's on the left wing at the Broncos, which is a gold mine, especially with Reece Walsh back and firing. The only concern is potential job security, but Selwyn Cobbo sounds like he's very much on the outer at the Broncos. Karapani re-signed with the club or extended during the week. There's also Dean Mariner lingering, but as it stands, I think the Supercoach gods have gifted us an absolute gem this week.
Oh, 100%. I think like the good stuff outweighs any concerns. I think if you have trades, like definitely trade him in, like you said, Spy, like you could trade Lawson to him, or like I'm doing, if you've got like Sharp and Bostock, you can trade one of those and then bank a whole heap of cash to upgrade, which I'm going to be doing returning Origin players. So yeah, it's an absolute gift. And clearly, 2 tries in each of his last 2 games. As long as he doesn't play well this week against the Warriors, I'll be happy.
No, you want him to play well, score a few tries, but the Warriors win. Because if he gets dropped, we're all wrecked.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So he can score a couple of tries. But yeah, absolutely. I think an absolute yes from me. Whether you're swapping out Lawson or another cheapie, or whether you're, downgrading and banking cash. And
if we have a quick look at his Queensland Cup stats, 7 appearances for, who's he playing for? The mighty Burleigh Bears? Burleigh Bears. 7 games, 6 tries, a try assist, but the big one when we're looking at Supercoach, 34 tackle busts. Quick math, what's that, a bit under 6-7 a game? Thereabouts, plenty anyway. 7 line breaks. Spy, pre-show, he wasn't in your plans.
Well, I don't need him. He looks bloody awesome, but I don't need him. I'm never going to play him. However, I would next week. Obviously, round 18 major buy, so that's handy. I don't know if Reece Walsh has any chance at Origin, but you do want Walshy playing. You do. Give him that service. That's pretty key. Admittedly, you'll then come up with some tough decisions. Round 19, if that does prove to be similar to round 16 after Origin and tricky, he does play the Titans at Seabus, so that's pretty handy. But in saying that, any other week, our sides are going to be stacked, so are you really going to play him?
He's $290K.
I take it
He's
all
going to
back.
free up money for, well, it depends if you go up from a Lawson or whatever, but, a lot of people might move like a Tommy Jenkins to him, free up a ton of money. He's about to make, provided he stays on the field, $250K, potentially more, and he's playable each week.
I agree, but I'd prefer Lehigh or Karaz. So I'm not going down, I'm going across. So depending on your side, would I choose him over a Karaz or Lehigh in my centre roster? No, I wouldn't. I've got Kyle McCarthy there. God bless him, did the job the other week.
Read out your CT dub.
Farnworth, Kiraz, Lucas, Garrick, Asako, Holmes, McCarthy.
Far out.
You have such a good CT. I take it all back. Actually, he can score 5 tries against the Warriors, and I'll play him because it will mean I'll make some ground on Spy. Yeah,
that's the only reason, and there must be others that are like that.
That is a stacked CT dub.
And we're going all right at the moment.
Where's your...
I love how we're so shocked that he's going to stay. He's in the top 1,000 or whatever, and we're just wow, your team's actually so good.
Yeah, I've had my head down.
Is there a spot in your team that you've got taking a bit of a hit as a result?
No, I'm killing it. It's the best spot I've ever been in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
concerning.
My worst player is... My hookers are Sandon and Starling. My front row is May and Aaron Clark. And I've got my 2 nuffs in the front row bench. They're the 2 I've got in my side.
Any of them dual? Like, can you dual any of them? You got Tino at 2RF.
Well, that's why I got Tukey to start the season.
So you got
I've
Tino at 2RF.
Tino can come in, so he covers both. That's it. Harris Tavita's even my backup 5'8" this weekend with Campbell out. So
Serviceable.
I don't want to talk it up, but I'm in a good spot.
The Spies coming all right over there.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my CT dub feeling like really bad about
that
it.
made me
but
feel
I
a
was actually
bit-
happy about mine. So
Well,
In saying all that, I'll hate him playing when you guys own him because he looks awesome. There's no doubting it. He's just gone 88, 97. He's got tackle busting. He runs a lot. He ticks every box except for where do I put him? So if you're in that boat, like, for example, I'm not going to just go McCarthy to him because I don't need the money. I don't need that number. But, yeah, if you're downgrading someone like a Jenkins, hell yeah. Like, that's magic. But,
I've got about 4 people I can move to him. So,
yeah, but I mean, if...
Fletcher Sharp, or have you, he's part
Well,
of
I
the
should
table?
say, I've just read that out. Sharp just came correct.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you want him? Do you need him? Or do you just go straight to a gun? I think that's the big question for listeners.
I think I need him because, I mean, I'm sure there'll be other people in this position because I tend to run my Supercoach bank account to the ground. Like, literally, like, I'm always on, like, $0. So, like, this banks me some cash, which I think is necessary to go and bow stock to him.
All right.
Without gloating, I also have 300k spare.
Without
Go away.
gloating, we got a bloody hero over here. Moving on.
No, the Supercoach gods are
Pride comes
going
before a fool.
I'm going to get macked by the Supercoach
You are
gods.
very
so
superstitious, Spy.
take it
You've
all
just
back.
gone out a very early crow.
that was all for the entertainment value. I take it all back. I'm going terribly, and I just want to put my head down and do my best.
Don't be
You and
stupid.
me.
It's
You
too
and me
late.
beating him.
The damage is done. Number 2, Jacob Kiraz, 753k, 84 point per game average, 76 break even. I don't think we need to spend much time on Jacob Kiraz. I think he's a must-have. Not necessarily this week based only on Penrith back, because if they are, it's a tough matchup.
Yep.
That being said, he goes up against Jenkins and McLean. Not a bad matchup.
Oh, yeah.
And secondly, if there is an injury to either of the Blues wingers, he could go straight into Origin next week.
Good point.
So you could wait a week, but if he doesn't, he's a must-buy next week. Number 4, Zach Lomax, 697k, 73 point per game average and 98 break even. He wasn't in your red hot CTW.
Well,
was
that's
he,
who I'm
Scott?
trying to fit in as well. So I don't know who he'll come in for, but he is coming into my side post-Origin. So yeah, I need to leave room for Big Zachary as well because he's a gun.
Here's my tip. I don't know how many Supercoach points he'll get, but I reckon he'll break the single runs in a game record this week against the Dragons back home. There'll be spite in it. He will have so many runs in this game.
Yeah, he will.
Hasn't scored without Mitch Moses in the team on his right edge this season, so that makes me feel slightly better as a non-owner.
Yep.
I was very tempted last week to buy. I think I'm now just going to wait through Origin. I've got other things I need to do this week, including Kiraz, but post-Origin for sure. Clem Viliami Kikau, 5th most traded in 621k, 73 point average and a 27 break even. I made the move on Big Billy Kicks last week. I don't recall owning Viliami Kikau since probably his original year where he started as a cheapie and was one of the best cheapies of all time. Shout out Reece Martin. But Kicks has just gone to another level this year. His base has never been great. His base and power has gone from 42 last year to 55 this year. That one is via Michael Fisher, the great Fisher, who writes our positional watch list article each week, which is an absolute corker. You like him, Clem?
Yeah, I love him. Like, no more buys. He's 4th highest averaging second row at 73 points. I don't know if he's still a pod. We're trying to work this out before. But yeah, definitely a different player to own when so many people have the same players. And I think it seems like there's a lot of teams with the similar players there in second row. And I think, yeah, if you want someone a little bit of a pod, maybe he's a good one to get. And yeah, no more buys. So probably lots of points.
Yeah.
20% ownership as it stands
that
after
a
some
pod?
trades, top 5% of players. So to me, that's absolutely a pod. 80% don't own. That's huge.
I think with Billy Kikau, I'm very aware bringing him in that there will probably be, say I keep him for the season and I haven't necessarily locked him in as a season keeper, but I do think he's a player with a low break even. There's money incoming. He'll cover some key rounds for me this week, round 18 and round 19. There's every chance I might move him to like an Angus Crichton or Hudson Young type post-origin, but there's also every chance that he's a keeper. I do think there'll be a 45 to a 50, but I think Spy he'll offset it with a 90 or 100 here and there, which, it might balance out at that 70-point sort of average. Like, it's not a locked-in gun move, but I like the upside of Kikau. He's looked awesome.
I'm pretty keen, hey. And that being said, you can play him when... Let's just say over the next 4 weeks. They got Penrith, which is maybe a bit tougher this week, but also revenge game back against his homeboys.
I wish he was running at Blaze Talangi. I'd dead set to captain him. He's running at Cleary.
It's a shame.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah. Then he goes Brisbane in the bye week, North Queensland Saints, so even into Manly Tigers. So that's an awesome run. And you'll find after that period, you don't have to play him for the last 6 weeks. Like, we're going to be reasonably stacked, I'd imagine. If you don't love his form, just sit him on your bench, play him as needed. So you're not saying he's someone I have to play every week, which is, I think, a lot of the appeal. Short term, you play him. Like, even this week, I don't know how your bench is looking, but you don't have to play him against Penrith either. But next week after, and the next 4 weeks, I think you'd want to. He looks really good. There's everything saying to me is like, it's Kikau though, he doesn't always deliver. I'm like, yeah, but players get better and sides get better and his role's improved. So I like it.
Like
more offloads recently.
He was around that sort of 60-odd averaging player at Penrith winning comps, but they had so many focal points of attack. He is the man at the Doggies. They go to him all the time, and also he did it in the back end of his time at the Panthers, but we speak about it all the time, Spy. That sweep he runs out the back where the centre on that edge, it's Bronson Sherry, runs the lead. He goes out the back and gets the tip on for the try. He's getting that. That is easy. It's the easiest 20 points you'll ever get.
He's in my side as we speak on today's trades.
Yeah.
So a decision to make there.
Number 11, Jed Stewart, son of Ricky Stewart, 45 points out at Campbelltown on the weekend. I was at that game just in front of his try on debut. Great moment. Just an interesting one. Like, he's only played one game, so there will be no price movement. We've got Karapani available. Clem, I'm very surprised people are moving this week. If there was no Karapani, I'm like, oh, I kind of get it. They're freeing up money. But, yeah, I was surprised to see people moving towards Jed Stewart this week.
Yeah, I think it's just people trying to, downgrade and get some cash maybe. But, yeah, how nice that he scored a try. Wasn't that nice?
Very nice. It was a great moment. Spy, number 4 most traded out player. The top 3 are the likes of Sharp, Bostock, Olakuatu. Number 4, though, Jackson Purdue. You mentioned him earlier in the show. 540K, a 61-point average. 26 points last week, 114 break even. Lots of signs point to sell, but he's back to centre this week. He didn't go terrific playing it in the halves Supercoach wise. The draw incoming is very good. I'll get that up. You've probably got it there. What are your thoughts?
There's no way in hell I'd be selling, and in fact, it could even be a pod purchase. Titans into Melbourne in the major buy. Doggies the week after is tough. So is the Dolphins, actually. But the facts are he's back at centre. Zach Labert's been playing left centre, so I'm going to assume Zach goes to the right centre position, surely, because you want that combination of Drinkwater, Purdue and co. On the left, he killed it at left centre. Hold for a couple of weeks, sell after that. There's no way I'd sell right now.
Yes. I think
especially this week. I'd love to play him this week. Can I borrow him? Anyone selling him?
Yeah. Alrighty, guys and girls, it's the end of the financial year, which means it's time to get your finances sorted. Sit down with Patty over at Mortgage Choice SCW to see what numbers are needed in order to be able to get into your first home or refinance your current home loan to save some cash. In particular, any of our self-employed listeners, having a conversation with Patty and then working with your accountant can make a huge difference in people's ability to get into the market. Further, for any of our tradie listeners out there, end of financial year is also the time to look at asset financing, some new tools and equipment, maybe even a new truck if the bank account's looking healthy enough for you. Reach out to Paddy and his team at Mortgage Choice SCW and start asking a few questions to find out exactly what this means to you. Normally, that'd sting you $129, but mention SC Playbook when you reach out and it'll be completely free of charge. Flick the team a message on Instagram at mortgagechoice_SCW or give them a buzz on 02 9521 1611. Doesn't matter where you are in Australia. Spy, trades and skippers. What do you got for us?
We're there already. Crikey. Well, there's 4 options I've written down. Kiraz, Kikau or Preston. Either of the two. Lehigh, Hopewadi and Karapani's in there. So I've just got to figure out, so I do need to make a couple of trades towards next week's round 18. I think prior to this weekend I needed to make 3 to get my numbers up for that match up. I was going to figure out how I'm going to do it. I think, Kiraz, you've spooked me a little bit with that Origin chat, 'cause you're right. One injury, he sounds like he's in. He plays Penrith, which, it's not a horrible matchup, but it's not perfect either. It's a Thursday night game.
Would he be the next centre up as well? I'm just thinking, not
sure.
Because obviously if one of the wingers goes down, I think he plays.
Don't think he's played enough centre to put
There's
him
a
in,
lot of
but
centres.
yeah.
Bradman Best was also unbelievable, so probably not. Yeah.
But I was also, already before you mentioned that, I was like, do I just get Kiraz next week? And maybe I didn't like not owning him last match. One of your favourite players is doing damage.
Yeah.
We watched together. I was like, this is rubbish. I think we put something else on for a bit. So I don't know, but I really want Kikau. Still got Preston there. He's a chance at Origin call up if they're injuries as well, but I wouldn't count on that. Lehigh Hopewadi I really want, but Tigers and South in the coming 2 weeks, love it. Then he has bye Melbourne and the Bulldogs, which isn't that easy, but it's Lehigh at fullback. I think I'm going to pencil in Lehigh this weekend as my number one trade in.
Does the prospect of him moving back to the wing impact you?
I think he only goes to the left wing if Turbo shows he's healthy. And a healthy Turbo feeding Lehigh on the left makes me pretty happy.
Fair
so
enough.
that being said, not really, but I really would like him to start fullback for at least a month. If it gets those last 5-6 weeks of footy and Turbo's back, that was impressive.
Thanks.
And Turbo's back at the back. Again, I don't have to play Lehigh in those weeks. If I want to on the left wing, I can, but it's an aim at the short term right now, looking to do some damage now. So I think it'll be Lehigh.
So sorry, Lehigh will cop you. Will cost you the likes of. Would it cost you Lomax? Yeah.
I would now go.
Then you'd have 7 guns.
No, I'd go Lehigh to Sharp to Lehigh. Kiraz would come in for a back rower. Dylan Lucas would flip up.
Yes.
And then after Origin, I would be able to sell an Asako or not a Garrick anymore on the wing, but I was teeing that up again.
One of them.
It'd probably be an Asako to Lomax.
Also, realistically,
Origin.
7 players.
Someone will get hurt.
7 players there, back rows, whatever. Someone will get hurt.
That's what I'm thinking. Any knowledge, guys? What do you reckon? Share with me.
I wish you'd tell everyone what we were watching instead of the game.
Oh, we need a whole
favourite
segment on
show.
that. How funny is it? Keys to the VIP on YouTube. It's the funniest thing you will see. It is the funniest thing. I can't go in depth into it now. It's
Just
unbelievable.
imagine Spy back in the day.
That'll make sense if you watch it.
Oh my god.
Honestly, everybody should
I'll
have
show
just,
you
like,
one night
watched
too.
at
Next
Respawn.
next 5 pit. It's hilarious. But yeah.
I look forward to it, Spy. All right. And your skippers?
I'm just going to go VC Pappy into Drinky. I love it. Sunday Arvo. It is my wife's birthday on Sunday, so I might. Are there only 3-hour massage packages on the northern beaches between 2 and 5?
We'll find them.
But I think I'm doing it anyway.
Clem, what about for yourself?
Well, my CT dub is in dire straits. So I have Sharp and Bostock out. I also have Lawson, not named. I have Billy Smith and Mark on the bye. So I need to make some moves there. So I think I'm just going to go... I'm going Sharp and Bostock out and getting in Karaz and Karapani, but now I'm double thinking on Karaz, and that never works out very well for me. But yeah, I definitely need to make some moves there.
The Kraz, I mean, I know it's Spook Spy, but I don't think the Kraz chat should spook too many. Like, put it this way. I think most people will be relatively well sorted for next week anyway. As it stands, he's playing. There needs to be an injury to the Blues for it to happen.
I should say when it spooked me, I was already a bit 50 on him and Lehigh.
Right.
So it just
There
helped.
you go.
Just helped.
Yeah. So I don't let that spook you, Clem. I think if you
Don't
want
let me spook you.
Kiraz- Also,
You're trying
can
to
you,
rattle me.
can you
Always.
imagine? Can you imagine owning Kiraz this week for 150 on Thursday night to start the round when Spy doesn't own one of his boys?
Yeah, it would be nice. And then Karapani, how much is he going to get? He's going to get 4 tries.
That was absolutely uncalled for.
Skippers, Clem.
So I've got Farnworth at the moment as my VC. I am going to captain Pappy, but I'm going to look a little bit more into it. But I definitely like Pappy at home for a captaincy. I feel like he's due that ton. He was meant to get the ton last week.
I'm actually going to get Lehigh and Karaz now you said that. The thought of him scoring 130 and ruining my weekend is not on, so they're both in.
Thursday night. Thursday night curse Spy. Never goes well.
You tried really well.
It's worked.
Matty, what about yourself, mate? What are you looking at this week?
But yeah, pretty easy one for me. I got Riley Smith and Sanders Smith, so I'll be pulling the trigger on Harry Grant, which I'm very excited about. And what's my other one? Oh yeah, I have Lawson just floating around, so I'm just going to turn him into Karapani. So
Easy.
2 very easy trades. Skipper, I'm vice captaining someone from Manly, probably Lehigh or Ruben Garrick.
Nice.
And then I'll captain. Wait, South are playing after Manly, I think. Yep. I'm captaining Keon. South's going to have a big win this week.
Calling it.
Yeah, against the Dolphins. It's going to be a big, big win.
Why?
Because we got our team back for the first time in about 3 years, except Cam Murray.
Yeah.
Nah, I reckon they were good. They should have won last week against Melbourne. I just got a feeling about them.
All right. Tip the bunnies. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
No bias at all.
Sure.
Just a quick shout, just to unsimplify that for you. This, I think, is Melbourne's last 2 o'clock Sunday game at Amy Park for the year. If you look what they've done in the other 2 o'clock Sunday games, absurd. I think Pappy's coming off 188 there.
True.
Last time. So just one to consider, mate. But
I will be considering that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Spire.
yes.
That's why I listen to this show.
All right, for myself. So I am looking at going Fletcher Sharp to Jacob Kiraz. I'm looking at going Tom Jenkins down to Josiah Karapani. He's got a break even of about neg 1 or neg 2, Tommy Jenkins. Could absolutely hold him for another week. There will be more cash incoming, but he's coming up against the Dogs D. I don't love the left edge of the Panthers anyway. He's done a fantastic job for me. It'll probably cost me 30k with him, but I'm getting Karapani at the same time anyway, who's going to make a lot more or go into plan. So I'm going to cut ties with Tommy Jenkins a little bit early. And then I have to decide, and to be honest, I think I'm just going to see how the opening to the round plays out and potentially boost and go Riley Smith to Harry Grant. So whilst I don't love having to use my boost before round 19, which has been the plan, things have changed and I'm getting into keepers. So the plan of doing it round 19 was to get my team set up for the run home as quick as I could. I'm still doing the same thing. I'm just doing it a little bit early because I need to. So see how that plays out. And another impact of that will be my captains. I'm thinking vice-captain Ruben Garrick on the wing outside Tommy Turbo against the Tigers. And if Rubes goes well, it's going to help the VC loop and the free enough loop with the hookers. So that'll make the decision a little bit easier and maybe I can sacrifice the hooking position. I'm also thinking of Sion Scott Drinkwater against the Titans on Sunday afternoon. Not putting it a line through Kellen Clementine either. I like that option too, but Drinky against the Titans excites me. So
Yes.
that's it. Alrighty, a few questions and then we'll wrap it up for the week. First question coming in from Peter Dow's Spy, and it's a little bit general, but 12 trades and a boost left. Is that enough to see me through?
It's really hard to answer without knowing your squad, but I came into this round with 13 and no boost, so we're not far apart. And I think it's enough. But you want to be a little bit wary. You don't want to go too mad. And I think you just concentrate on getting your keepers or your short-term, really good buy coverage kick-out types. Don't be... Or a Karapani if you want. That's fine. But don't just be doing sideways stuff at this point of the year now. You want a clear reason for why you're doing things. But it's fine. Certainly no need to panic. But I've just started to think now a little bit of, okay, don't want to start wasting them at this stage of the year now. Thus the Karapani and Kyle McCarthy situation. 2 months ago, would have pulled the trigger immediately, but I'm starting to rethink a little bit.
Yeah, a week or two ago on the SC Playbook subscriber podcast on the SC Playbook website, we've got the audio and video to that one as well. I went through basically my final team targets, team structure for each position and how you want to sort of play it, how much depth you want in them, certainly obviously leading around my squad. And I basically, when I need this many players back in, I need this many trades to do it, it'll leave me this many to go. So, and what that helped me to do was sit there and say, all right, probably don't have enough trades to get all the team I want and then get in a Blake Brayley at hooker who then I'll probably want to move to Harry Grant later on anyway and waste 2 trades in that position. Or, maybe it's move someone down 5'8", down to a Laitu Fainu to then make another trade later. So check that one out if you're a subscriber. But yeah, 12's okay. It's just put the focus on getting keepers in your team and probably not those short-term plays, maybe like a Viliami Kikau who. Next question, Clem, coming from Cooper McGrath. When is the time to bring Payne Haas back in? Did you get rid of him?
I have got rid of him, but I got rid of him. I got rid of him before Origin, I think. Look, obviously he absolutely played his heart out last week. What did he tonned up, right? Like, so good. I think that I would still wait and bring him back after Origin. Again, like I sound like a broken record, but it's a long time between 17 and 20. And you know, he'll play this week, but then you know, Origin, and then does he back up again? And I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm cautious. I'd bring him back after.
Yeah, I kind of want him now after last week. But yeah, misses round 18, buying round 20. We don't know how round 19 is going to play out for him in terms of minutes. So I'm very reluctantly sitting on the edge of my chair watching Payne.
Sorry, I was just going to say, because like you think about it, like that's like 3 rounds, like or 2 rounds, 3 rounds. So like his points that he might get on Saturday, you need to balance that out over the rounds and make sure you know that you're not just making a trade just for 1 round.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but
that's it. Missing 18 and 20. Does he back up round 19? He's carrying the injury concern.
It just depends if you can cover him. That's the thing. Like, it's all good and well with that, but if you can definitely cover him, I actually looked into doing it. It would have clogged up one of those spots for a Lehigh or Karaz and stuff. So I was like, I'm then losing a quality round 18 number. So yeah, pretty like it's better than I expected from him last week. We know he's going to do that stuff. But after Origin, I couldn't quite believe it.
He also looked like he almost didn't come back on the field, like because he was injured at one. We went off, got strapped, came back on, and just went beast mode.
Yeah, there's risk there.
I think round 21's the time. Yep. I really do.
That makes sense.
All right, next question coming in from Dale Jacobson. Why are people selling Zach Hoskins? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if either of you two own. I do.
I already sold him.
He's been a bit underwhelming, but he's ticking along okay. He covers round 18. Good coverage the next couple of weeks. Don't necessarily need to play him this week, and he becomes Crichton, Hudson, whoever it might be post-Origin, right?
Yeah, so he's got to buy around 19.
Yeah.
That's when I'll look to move him on. But I think you're right, he's been a tad underwhelming, but...
Can't jag attack to save himself.
Everything that I bought him for, he's not really doing.
I didn't own him at the start of the season, and he couldn't stop finding attack, and then obviously had his injury, and the base has been there. He's getting through work. He just can't jag any attack.
Tells me he's due. So whether it's against the Knights, who can defend typically, or Saints next week, it's coming. Round 18, paying those dividends.
Hudson out's good for just sort of locking in that 80 minutes, you'd imagine.
He might play left as well. He slipped to the left last week when Hudson went off, I believe, which is that can't hurt. Don't mind that at all.
Next question from... Yeah, this is going for you, Spikes. You're just talking about it. Timothy Taylor, Kikau or Preston? Because Preston gets that matchup with Blaze Tulungi this week, which is one of the best in the game, in my opinion. You said you like Kikau, but you love Preston.
I do love Preston. It's like when I let him go when he got suspended. It's almost like I said to him, mate, see you next year. Just go sort yourself out and I'll catch you in 2026. But now he could be back. So, yeah, Preston's awesome. He will run a lot less than Kikau in a typical game, which is why I like Kikau in that sense. But what Preston does with that footy, it's a try-scoring machine. I really like them both. I haven't split the middle on them yet, but I don't think you can go too far wrong.
Kikau would be a fun own, I reckon.
Would be a fun own.
The
Preston can be frustrating because he doesn't get a lot of footy a lot of the time. He's just efficient.
Yeah. One from Jordan Brighton for you, Clem. Which one is more important for the run home? Zach Lomax or Valentine Holmes? Looking to get one in this week and the other maybe for Sarko when he has the buy in round 21.
Well, I haven't looked at either of these players, but I'm just going to say Lomax. I just feel like they need him to play well. They need him to play well on the run home. Obviously, the Dragons need Bell to play well as well. But I just feel like, I'd bring in Lomax.
I want both, and they're in my final team plans, but I prefer Lomax to the priority for me.
Is he bringing Lomax this week? Lomax this week.
Yeah, I like the Lomax play. Yep. Spy, one from Jason Nightingale's burner account.
Great account, by the way.
Who's the faster runner out of Timmy or Spy?
I got 2 comments on this. Firstly, Jason Nightingale burner account. One of the great rugby league moments, grand final 2010. Nightingale right corner in the rain, so shout out there. As for that question, Timmy kicks my ass. But I did snap my leg in half in under-18s rugby league, and I was a bit quicker before that. But I give Tim early ball, and he does what he needs to do.
You were quick pre-broken leg, and then that ended your running.
It turned him into more of a Jason Smith type scheming halfback 5'8".
That's doing discredit to Jason Smith's speed. All right, guys, that'll do us for the SC Playbook podcast for round 17. Spite, thank you, mate.
Thanks, guys. Clementine, Penrith, Canterbury, Thursday night. I'll talk to you. How good.
Perfect.
Thanks for coming
Clem,
on.
good to have you back on.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Alrighty, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show. Have a great week.